unless there's at least 4 inches of ice, and that's with the safety.
Oh, you gotta love it. Yeah, I know. Oh, wow. That's the biggest one yet. Big jumbo perch.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. The Bro Road Show, where we talk everything ice right now. And this is all about ice. We don't have any ice, but we're going to get into that in a little bit here. But first, I want to thank my sponsors of this show. We have Chesterburg Toyota, which is one of the best dealerships ever. And if you're in the market for a new truck, stop by and check out their legendary trucks and say hi. I mean, they got coffee there. They got a nice room in there. Stop in and say hi to Brian and the gang at Chesterburg Toyota. Thank you for being a sponsor. And stop down to Bemidji Sports Center, and they can put together a long track sled or a side-by-side and trick it out. They know ice, and they could trick it out for ice. So just remember, Bemidji Sports Center, that's where I get my stuff. I mean, they have bumpers and winches for sleds there. It's really, really freaky what they do with these machines. If you're a hardcore ice person, you got to stop in there. And we're going to have them on here in a couple weeks to talk about what's going on. And make sure to check out Visit Bemidji. If you're coming up to the area, you want to make sure to check out Visit Bemidji just to look what's available, where to stay. They have a really cool website. They'll help you find lodging, and make sure to talk to Brady and the staff there. They're supporters of the show, and we really are glad to have you. And coming up here, I want to bring on my co-host, of course. But since you've seen them, we have a spring show and a winter show, so we stay timely to ice and then open water. Sam has a lot of achievements, some really, really, really cool ones. And so, Brooke, bring on Sam. We got too much to talk about.
Hey, bro.
Hey, how's Sam doing?
I'm doing good. It's good to be back.
Yeah, and this is a great time of year. You get to, get in a deer stand a little bit, and we all love fishing. That's why we're here. But you get to go, chase a big game, and then reflect on the past. Sam, tell us about what happened to you this summer. First, tell us about that tournament.
Yeah, it was a big summer for me. So first of all, me and my partner, also Northland Marketing Director Joey Ullman, took home the Battle of the Bass Heads win on Cass Lake. So it was a really big bass tournament there on Cass.
Look at those belts.
Yep. And we came in as the locals with the little boat and got up to the top. So it was kind of a tough day of fishing, but we threw our Reed Runner frogs all day and got some big bites and was able to take home the win there. So that was super fun. Like I said, biggest tournament I've won before, biggest tournament Joey's won. So it was a good.
Look at that. Actual Northland stuff. Northland stuff right there.
That's what we were using. The new Reed Runner frogs. So me and Joey were using both kind of black colors that day. I was using that Blackbird that's got that little swatch of yellow and the red. And then Joey had the loon color on, which is kind of black with a white. But we were just throwing them through the lay down and dead rice, just working them really slow. And it went really good. That frog's got a super soft body. So we hooked most of our fish. Good action. It was awesome. So that was one thing. And then secondly, and my big accomplishment of the summer is I won the Minnesota Walleye Stamp. So I'm super excited about that.
That's huge.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't believe it when they gave me the call. So my artwork there, my painting, will be featured on the 2024 Minnesota Walleye Stamp. So
wow.
Of course, you got to have a little fireball jig in there. Walleye chasing the shiner on a fireball. So yeah,
that's huge. That's huge, Sam.
Yep. Buy your stamps come spring, and then if you want to, you can pay an extra 75 cents and get the pictorial stamp. But I am also selling prints of the artwork. So you can go to my Etsy page, S. Larsen Art. Brooks got it up on screen there, and I'll also I'll link it below after the show in the comments. But selling 200 limited edition prints. They're all signed and numbered. I see, bro, you got yours back there behind you.
I got mine right back behind me here. I was going to pull it off the wall, but everything might come tumbling down. But it's right here, and Sam autographed it. I made him do it right away. So make sure you do that, because this guy, this is great. And plus, everybody needs a little fishing money, so I think that's really good. Fantastic. So, everybody knows where to get it. Make sure to get it. I got one. And good to see everybody joining us tonight. That's a huge achievement. So I don't have any big achievements like that this year, but just designing stuff and keeping out there. Good to see you, Craig. So Sam, it's about ice. This show is very ice centric, and good to see you guys. We are going to have a giveaway, but before we do that, let's talk about what's new.
Yeah.
Northland Tackle. Just give us a little tidbit here.
We'll give the rundown of what's new, and then we'll go over the giveaway, because some of this stuff's going to be featured in the giveaway. So
let's do the giveaway now here.
You want to just do the giveaway right away? Okay. Yeah. So I'm calling this giveaway the Bro You Know What I Like giveaway. And there's a backstory to this. A lot of times Bro will call me when he's running a little bit low on tackle, and he goes through, 4 or 5 items, and he goes, you know what I like. Just stock me up on with the stuff I like. So we're going to do a giveaway for each show this week. It's got all the Northland stuff Bro likes in it. So there's Bro Bug spoons in there. There's coffin spoons, glass buckshots, rigged tungsten jigs, mud bugs, gill getters, and all of kind of Bro's secret colors. That he likes. Yeah. So no hiding your stuff that you're always ordering from me. So
you got the bloodworms in there.
The bloodworms, the gold and the red bloodworms, and then I think your one that you probably request the most from me is that 1/8 ounce electric perch Bro Bug spoon. I know that one was a hot one for you.
Oh, that one's deadly.
We got the tackle. On top of that, we got the Bro Roadshow mug, the hat, and then some swag from Visit Bemidji in there as well, Paul and Babe, and a hoodie. So make sure to like, comment, and share the show, and that'll get you entered in to win. And we'll be picking a winner towards the end of the show.
Wow, and we can't win. Boy, that stuff looks great, but fantastic. That's an awesome giveaway, and thanks Visit Bemidji for doing that. So now there's no ice. I mean, I've been all over the place. I've been hunting and doing some fishing, and for a while there, I couldn't launch my boat because it was starting to freeze up in some of the accesses. But now they all opened up, so we could get back in there. Yeah, I have secrets. Yeah, well, you want to know what my secret is? I invite Sam so I could dig in his tackle box. So
good friends with tackle is always a good deal.
Absolutely. So since we're not having guests tonight, it seems like sometimes we get into that where we're rolling through guests, and I have some great guests. I mean, one of my original shows, I had Kevin Van Dam, I've had Tom Wynn, I've had a lot of different people. We've had a Minnesota Viking on here, and but sometimes
classic champion Gussie.
I mean, what a great thing, But right now we want to get the train on the tracks and talk about tips, because sometimes we get more interviews and all that kind of stuff when we're not getting into the nuts and bolts, and people want to know what to get, what to do, and be ready for ice. So with that in mind, Sam, let's talk about some of the new stuff that I'm truly impressed with and had a chance to use.
So Northland Ice this year, we went kind of simple, but it's really exciting, and it spans over a broad selection of platforms. So first off, we'll talk about our new Super Glow, and I gotta do a little charge up real quick here. This isn't even a UV light, but that is new Northland Glow right there. So what we did is we went in and we said, we don't care what the paint costs. We're going to get the best glow paint we can source to apply to all of our family of jigs. So how we're going to launch that is we got 4 colors in the spoons here. You can see the white's glowing. not used to my my podcast hands yet. Let's see here. So we got a chartreuse. Oh, I don't have the blue up here. Here's the blue. A chartreuse, a red, a blue, and a white glow. And we're calling these our exo colors. So those are available. But as you can see on the packaging, we have this new, mirrored, new Super Glow icon right there. And any of that new packaging with that Super Glow icon is going to have that improved paint. So we added those 4 new colors with the improved paint, but then we took that improved paint and applied it to the rest of our product line. So it glows significantly better than what it used to. I know we were visiting some of the retailers down in the Twin Cities areas last week, and they mentioned when they shut off the lights at night, you can tell where the Northland stuff is because it's glowing so good. So, yeah, make sure to check out the new Super Glow colors. Your best, longest lasting glow to that's going to be the white and chartreuse, followed up with the orange and the blue, but it's significantly brighter than what we've been able to produce in the past. So
I already tied them on. I can't wait. And
Yep.
the first time I used them, actually, you had one tied on. You didn't say nothing about it. And you, in like 4 or 5 perch into it, I'm like, hey, what's going on here, man?
I've learned with you pros, I gotta take what I can get when I can get it and get a little upper hand.
Yeah, so that box was.
Along with that, we introduced some of the Super Glow colors into the mud bugs and gill getters. And on this side, we did some Wonder Breads. So you got some of those dotted patterns. So those are really, really cool. On top of that, we launched one more shape of tungsten pattern. You got it right there. The tungsten flat fry jig. So it's different than what we've had in the past. And I know you've always spoke really, you designed the mud bug and the gill getter for us. And we did that for specific reasons, and we did the flat fry for specific reasons. So the mud bug and the gill getter have a 60-degree eye on it. So they're going to hang like this. And the reason you like that is because bugs come up out of the mud and fish come up and feed from the bottom. So they're always getting the hook first, right? So
Exactly.
I love that shape, but also, especially on highly pressured waters, sometimes you want that 90-degree presentation. You want that bait to hook flat or that bait to sit flat on there. Mimics some of those little fry minnows better. Sometimes fish get sit really finicky if it's not hanging right. So this is the flat fry. It's got a 90-degree bend hook in it. But it's also kind of a boxier shape. And that on top of the tungsten, it shows up on sonar really, really good. Flat back, so it's perfect for using with plastics. You can also tip it with wax worms and whatnot. But it really, really shines in plastics. We got a 3D eye on there, which is new for any of our micro tungsten shapes. So really, really solid jig overall. We're excited for that one as well.
I got one tied on.
Yep.
This is actually still on from last year. I was fishing in Michigan on a lake over there that has super giant perch. I don't want to say the name, obviously, but everybody knows what it is.
And that's one of those pressured waters, right?
Yep, pressured, but there's purple dots on here. The purple dots kicked butt, and I had a perch that was right at 2 pounds, and it was amazing. And there's a lot of things you learn as you go from water to water, how it changes from lower Michigan to upper Michigan and even out to New York. I haven't been there for a while, but I plan on getting there pretty soon here in Colorado, and Wisconsin to the Dakotas. Dakotas, that's its own animal too. I mean, I've noticed out there the sneeze colors, everybody I talk to out there, they absolutely love that color in South Dakota. And then
fish love that color everywhere.
They love that color everywhere. But the glass buckshot here last year was one of my big fish getters. But on Devil's Lake, the glow perch is probably one of the number one areas that sells that color. That's really a really good color. But getting into it here,
those are part of the bro. You know what I like giveaway. I think I got those colors in there.
Well, and so I've caught more big walleyes on these glass buckshots than about everything until now. Now that super glow is really changing things, but these glass buckshots really work in pressured situations. There's proof right there. That walleye swam. We're at a photo shoot, and there was people all around me, and I was in the center. That walleye swam by everybody's lines. You could see with forward viewing now. Swam by everybody to come over to my lure.
Mine was one of those lines. I saw it come through, and then I saw Bro set the hook.
Yeah, that one was 29 3/4. So it's on a lake that still trying to get a 30 out of there. But when you really measure them, and which was just a monster, it was great for photos. But early ice, we just can't go anywhere we want to go. Obviously, everybody's got their place they want to go hit, and I do. I have places that I want to get out and get some great walleye action, big perch, maybe some slab crappies, giant bluegills. Who doesn't love all that? I even like whitefish. I've been on the Great Lakes and fished those, and we got some giant ones up here. I mean, 4 to 8 pounders, and they're untouched. And the trout here, you go by some of these trout lakes, there's no one on them, and so there's so many ways to go about it. But early ice, you don't get to go where you want to. But there's some lakes that freeze faster than others. And Sam, Red, where do we start all the time?
We always go to Red. We always make an early ice trip to Red. It's one of my favorite trips of the year because it's timely. You got to be up there, when usually that like end of the first week of walking traffic to the first week they let out 4-wheelers is like prime time up on Red. So you got to get up there at the right time. But if you're up at the right time, Red is great because there's no secret about Red. And you can go up and you can take anybody you want with you, get a bunch of people on the ice, have friends, tell the world you caught them on Red, what you caught them on. It's just a good time. And I see Matt's got a question about what color of Red on Red. It's simple for me. Red equals Red. Bro's got the red fish on there that we've had in our lineup for years. That was a staple, but the new Super Glow Exo Red is really good too. Pinks work good up there. Golds have times, but honestly, I think that first ice, 90% of the time we've been up to Red. Some sort of red color has been the best up there.
It has, and I always have this gold tied on. Just because it'll get them in. Red isn't a rip it thing. We've had times where you could just rip it. It's a subtle jigging thing. Those fish have so much food there, so many emeralds, so many little everything, darters. They got fry from, everything, little. There used to be a lot of whitefish in Red Lake, and I think they're starting to come back, which would be really nice to see. Shallow whitefish are fun to catch.
And talking about the no secrets of Red, that might be the little secret of Red. I feel like Red over any other lake has that pattern of the day. So we just said that, 90% of the time we're using Red. But remember we were up there a few years ago and we all had a color combination of Red on, but that bro bug spoon was catching like 5 fish to 1. A little tweak in a color. So it's good to have an array of presentations going up on Red. It's not like so much like structure fishing where if you get on the hump, they're coming up to the hump to eat. Those fish are seeing a ton of lures. They're roaming and cruising in schools. So having a few different presentations and working those fish until you get them is important.
We had a question about where the crappies biting on Red. We went all over that place, and they're in very specific areas. And it seemed like, Sam, they're holding under the roads. The thicker the ice got on the roads, the banks had dark spots. So they literally, you could go on either side of the bank. You had to be right next to the bank, but you can't flood the roads. So abandoned roads, everybody was drilling on those edges, and I couldn't believe it. I thought the crappies were low, but there's huge piles out there still, just very specific.
Yeah, you got to work for them and drill a bunch of holes, but they're definitely findable. And that road / in early season ice heave is another kind of secret tip about Red. In a barren structureless lake like that, you have that on the top structure. So as you get those heaves and those roads and snow drifts, you're creating shadows, and little differences in the ice that I think those fish relate to on such a barren, you know, bottom layer of that lake.
Oh
There's
yeah.
not a whole lot to it. So any little thing you can do to help increase your odds of the traffic of fish rolling through that area is really important. But early ice, you got to be really careful going around those areas with heaves and breaks and
Well,
cracks.
and we got I got a Brobug spoon here. I'll show you how I load it up. We got a photo back there with Brooke. That's how I put wax worms on. We call it the Medusa head, where everything's wiggling. It's just like this
Mhm.
pile of snakes. You got to tempt them. I don't bring bait to bring it home. So I just use lots of bait. And minnow heads are really good on red. I've caught a lot of walleyes trying to fish for crappies, and even every now and then you'll run into a school of perch out there, big jumbo perch, and they're not
Yeah.
super long. See this perch here? This is a fish from Michigan, and look at how massive they are. So just grip and grin and drop them down a hole really quick, because that's all eggs. And there's some real destinations for true 2 pound perch. And I didn't want to put a whole bunch of pictures up, but that is a place. Michigan, lower and upper Michigan, has so many giant perch destinations. In Minnesota does too. Before Heather and I went to Idaho to fish perch, we did this a few years back. Heather actually got 2 16.5 inchers, which are on the wall. I got a 16 incher on Lake of the Woods. So Lake of the Woods has some magnum super giant perch, but it's real random. And you catch them near the spots. We're starting to see now, with all the technology we got with the hummingbirds, you could see where the rocks are, and the fish are actually on smaller rocks and gravel. So with all of this, we're gonna figure out where these things are. But when perch are spawning and they're in huge piles in the spring, Lake of the Woods has rotten ice flow, so it's virtually impassable. So it's always going to be safe from getting them that time of year, like on other lakes. But it has true 2.5 pound perch potential, maybe even a state record, because it's so big. And another thing that we're starting to hear, and I don't want to get any flat tires, but the crappie piles are piling up out there, and we're starting to see more and more crappies caught on the Rainy River, the 4 Mile Bay, the Gap, and all over the lake. Even people out in sleepers on the lake are catching big slabs, like really big slabs.
Can't go wrong with that. Multi-species. Hey, I saw a good question come in about using snaps and swivels on your spoons. Do you use them?
I usually like to tie a loop knot, and I'm going to show that in the seminar. But if I get really close, you might be able to see this loop knot here.
Yep.
So you can't change your lure with that, but I'll use a small snap, use a little Gamakatsu snap, and then swivels to up higher if I'm using braid.
Yeah.
That works really good.
Swivels can be super, even if I'm using the same line type, a floral silk or a mono to mono, I still like putting that swivel in there sometimes, because you get a lot of line twist bobbing those spoons all day.
Absolutely, and they make swivels super tiny now, so you can get a Gamakatsu a swivel that's size 16. Size 14 is perfect. 16, I end up losing more dropping them in the bottom of the fish. Also, when they're on that floor, you'll never find them again. Yep. But this is a red lake, tried and true color here. Gamakatsu octopus hook, size 4. You could go a 6 if it gets tough, but you don't have to use super big minnows there. When they're really active, they'll hit it. But I always have, I'm showing you some secrets, because I care about everybody out there, and I want you to catch fish.
That's another huge thing early ice, and especially Red Lake, is the dead sticks. The dead sticks can really play. and I think you got a cool new dead stick option this year that I've had for a few years now, but they've become a partner of yours. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, you've probably heard of them. They're a big time iFish Pro tip up, and we got a picture of one here that we'll show you. But I've got a super light rod here. You just set the rod on the tip up, and what I'll do is I'll set the rod in there, but I'll have my St. Croix Deadeye rod, which I actually use for perch or for anything, but it's got the little chartreuse tip and then a little tiny sinker up and then another little space and another sinker. I go with little micro sinkers just to get that minnow down the hole, and then I'll use a little glow hook. Now that hook is a size 8, and that's a Gamakatsu, and put little minnows on, and then when it goes, the flag comes up. It only makes sense for me to use an iFish Pro because if a tip up goes off, I don't want to have all that line all over the ice. If you're fishing big pike or something, but if you're getting lots of bites, like you're on a Winnie, Cass, Leech, Lake of the Woods, Red, you're hammering fish all day. You don't want to keep dealing with wet fingers and line. You just lift up a rod and set the hook. And that's why they call it iFish Pro, because you're not fishing like a caveman. You're iFish Pro.
Say I got my iFish Pro years and years ago, and it alleviates the hassle of I gotta go pick up the tip ups or I gotta go set the tip ups. It makes it so easy, setting your line depth, picking them up, moving around, and tip ups was something I fished for pike and stuff a lot with, but when it came to walleyes and some of the panfish out there, I didn't always set up because it's just you got them all big Dacron line on them, and it's not very convenient. But with that iFish, you just take the bobber rod that you would have had in your house and put it on that, and you got a tip up to go. So they're a really, really slick product. I'm super excited you're working with them this year, and can't wait to do some more stuff with them.
Yeah, like the rod I'm using here, this is a 28-inch. You could use a 30, and there's an adjustable spot on there, so you could actually put a lot of different rods, but you want to at least a 28 or a 32 just to be sure. And it depends on what you're fishing for, because you can use these rods these iFish Pros for crappies, for perch. Yeah. And if you truly want to put fish on the ice, a minnow down on a hook while you're jigging works great. And in some places they let you use, we can use 2 lines here. Wisconsin, it's 3. And, out on the East Coast, what is it, 10 or something like that in some of those states? It's crazy. I mean, if they got a tip-up spread, you might put another mile on your sled just to get around them, But they know how to catch fish. But so iFish Pro is going to be fun. And ever since I could remember, we always hear about people jigging the rod. No one puts a line down because everybody wants to jig, but I always put a line down. I always had a dead stick because I was the guide. I actually worked as a guide, and I know that there's times when a slow lethargic fish is going to come up and grab that bait. Yeah. In that big perch lake, you just hang a little minnow on there or a bunch of wax worms. You don't have to jig it. They just come up and eat it. They're gathering food and just kind of grazing across the bottom. But, find those good mud transitions where it's hard bottom to mud, and places just like deer hunters, right? The bedding areas, the feeding areas, and near the swamps. You just got to know travelers. They're moving. And because there's times we're fishing perch, and this is a pretty big perch destination here. There's a lot. They're not super magnum size, but you catch a lot of 11 to 13-inch perch up here, and you use the iFish Pro as like a little alarms, so you know where they're headed to, and they start going off in an area. And most people think that when you're using a tip up, oh, now I could put my feet up and crack one open. No, that's not how it works. We're moving them nonstop, just like we do ourselves. So tip up fishing isn't relaxing when you're with me. We're going to be moving that thing, and when one goes off, then the rest go over that way. So that's how you do that.
What else are you excited for new products on the ice?
Well, I really, really love the flat fry jig, and then I'm super excited about the Hummingbird Ice Bundle. That is the best ice fishing depth finder you could ever use. In down view, you can see the fins, you can see the fish coming up to eat it, and they've had 2 updates, and it's just amazing. The updates are online, but you got to do them in order. And remember this, and people are starting to get wind on this, is that power going down there is scaring fish in some lakes, but not Hummingbird. They make the least amount of noise. That high power stuff is blowing fish out. I've heard stories in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, the UP, and the nice thing with Hummingbird, they come with 2 transducers. So you have 2D and you have your down rod with forward viewing. But I love using it straight down because you can monitor all the lines. Now, when you're looking out farther with the updates, you can see way farther than ever, and it's clear. So it's super cool. That's probably what I'm really excited about are these updates and what they're doing with that. Then you got Lake Master Maps. The new VX chip has Lake of the Woods and Rainy Lake on it. And, we love fishing Lake of the Woods and Rainy Lake. We go there all the time and go fishing in all the lakes in between. But this VX chip has everything. It has topographical maps. Yep. And then you could also get this same kind of thing on your phone with a One Boat Network Hummingbird app. So pretty cool stuff.
So that's pretty cool, especially for ice guys, that you can just put that in your truck. Everyone's got your phone with you. Your GPS, works without signal as long as you get the maps uploaded first.
Yeah.
For a small subscription fee, you can have all those lakes, and that's pretty cool deal.
Well, and I got a picture here of First Ice on foot, and I want to show you. I love fishing in my Otter, but sometimes when you're just testing the ice, this is what I have. I have the Otter Utility Sled. I mean, they got them all different sizes. I got a smaller one if I'm just out doing a recon and just hitting real stuff, but I got my Hummingbird Ice Bundle up front where I could turn back and see. And then I'm plotting a course out there because I'm going to go where I drill. And Sam, you and I were on early ice. We're in a situation. We have all the safety gear and stuff, but we had a heavy snow. In some areas, we're a little less than others. Yep. So you had to stay in your path. And so we don't go unless there's 4 inches of ice, but there are some areas we didn't want to go, but the chart plotter was spot on.
Hey, yep. And followed our way back there. That was a savior. So
yeah, it makes a big difference. And I like that. Got my 30-inch walleye in Lake of the Woods with a Hummingbird Mega Live. That's a monster a fish. And Lake of the Woods has some real big fish and gets a lot of pressure. But those big fish, they don't always get got because you got to move around, and they know there's when a road comes in. I don't think if you were a 30-inch walleye, would you hang under a road? I don't think so.
It's the old road on Red Lake, maybe, but I don't think there's many 30s swimming around Red.
Well, yeah, the Saugers might like it, and of course Tullabees and pike, like wherever the houses are. So we have a question: what line do I use on the ice? I would say the fluoro ice, the Sunline. I found this at a show when I was over in Linwood, Michigan, working with Franks, and then over at the Ultimate Sports Show in Novi. That is where I seen Sunline for the first time. It was cutting edge, and someone said, "Hey, check out this line." So I bought a bunch because the thin line was so strong. Hey, thanks. Good to see you, Joe. The thin line was so strong. I was absolutely impressed, and I stopped using a 1 and 2 pound test years ago because you're messing around with a crappie or a bluegill, you break your line just from it moving on top of the ice. This stuff isn't like that. It's super strong and super clear. So if you want to know what color I use, every color that's clear.
What pound test do you use for both your panfish setups and your walleye setups?
Well, if I'm in a place with a lot of pike and a lot of or bass, 3 is perfect. 3 is the right amount. You're not casting with that reel, so you don't have to fill it all the way up. You could split a spool between 2 reels, and a 3 pound test. you'll get your lure back. And I don't want to lose this purple dotted lure. This flat fry is good on every time a bass bites or something, but we catch huge bass, 4, 5, 6 pound bass on that 3 pound. But I know guys that have caught big pike on 2 and walleyes up to 29 inches on 2 out at Devil's Lake. And it's just amazing how strong that Sunline makes line, and they're really getting people because most of your bass pros are using it, and your walleye pros, Sunline is hot. It's hard to get sometimes, but most of your good retailers have it. And so Braid is the same. Sunline, they have different diameters. They have a 10 pound that's like a 2 pound test. It's really, really thin, but they have an 8 pound that you could pull a boat anchor up with. And so I'll use that, but it's coated, so you don't get all the air bubbles. If you ever use Braid, you'll notice all you see is just braid bubbles, and you jig and the bubbles are all over. Sunline doesn't do that. It's very light and it doesn't distract you.
So are you what pound test are you using with the walleyes too? Is still 3 then, or you step up?
I'll step up to about 5 pound test, and that's good. If I'm on an eater lake, like Winnebagosh, 4 or 5 pound is perfect, and we've still caught a lot of walleyes on 3 pound test. It's surprising how many bites you get on like line, especially these super clear line. And yeah, right there, 3 pound test, big walleye, 29 inch walleye. You just have all that extra test. But if I'm up at Lake of the Woods, I'll bump it up. I'm using bigger lures. When you're using bigger lures, heavier action, St. Croix CI rods, you're using heavy game stuff. Those walleyes do not care. You could go with Braid, but some of them charter captains will tell you that those big walleyes hit on little crankbaits at times. They want lighter line when they're jigging. So I think that a 7 pound is a good bridge. You could just see the difference. So 7 pound, 6 pound, 6 pound would be perfect everywhere. And, but have a little heavier stuff if you're using, bigger spoons and stuff like that.
Hey, before we get going any farther, let's remind everyone about the giveaway tonight. So we have the Bros Tackle Pack giveaway. It's got a bunch of the lures Bros asking me for all the time. Bro Bug spoons, glass buckshots, some of those new Exo Super Glow colors and buckshots and coffin spoons.
Ooh.
Then we also have the Visit Bemidji swag. We got a camo hoodie in tonight's giveaway, as well as little plush Paul and Babe stuffed animals, and then of course the Bro Roadshow gear. So we got a Bro Roadshow stocking hat, cap, and the mug. So make sure to like, comment, and share. That'll get you entered in to win the giveaway, and we'll be picking out a winner here at the end of the show.
Well, and I was going to just talk about one thing about light. And Otter has a new house out. They have just amazing Vortex hubs, and these people are winter camping in them now. And I don't know if I got a picture of my machine with the winter camping house, but these houses are big and people are sleeping overnight. It's actually becoming a huge deal. So they're buying an Otter Monster hub and camping overnight. And I've seen people using them at deer camp. They're using them all over the place, but they have a big door. And so what a great idea. All these different pop-ups out there, and Otter's like, hey, let's put a big door on there. And it's just been fantastic. So you're carrying gear and you're trying to go into a trapezoid shape. No, they don't do that. They give you the big bro door, so I could just walk right in there. And it's super cool. But, one thing I've noticed, I've used a lot of different houses in my life. When you buy an Otter, you don't sell it at the end of the year. It's like an heirloom. I mean, I don't want to sell any of them.
I say the thing with the Otter, and they've been supporting you now, and I was like, gosh, I should really study up on what's coming out, with the new Otters, because I think mine is probably, I don't know, seven or so years old now, but it's like it's brand new still. there's
Oh yeah.
no need to look at a new one because it's still in such great shape. So I think that's the biggest part about otters. It's a house for life.
Well, and you go to that booth, it is just buzzing all the time at every show, and which hub to get. And I mean, when you go to the ice shows, you meet some of the really super hardcore ice fishing people, and people who've never ice fished before. And otter is the house you get if you want to get one and be done, because they last forever. And just their proprietary fabric, super high denier. They're very comfortable, and they got everything.
We're gonna have to. I saw Tom Wynn's watching tonight.
Hey,
Watch him
Tom.
bring the otters out with him. He's that open water guy, so I don't know if he can handle the cold weather or not.
We got to get out. Last year, I wanted to wait. I didn't want to take him when it was nice out. I was waiting for a cold, windy day.
Full fledged. See how the cold weather gear works.
Yeah, and it's ice fishing isn't always cold. You need the cold to create the ice. We've had a lot of days it's 30, 40 degrees, and ice. As far as ice safety, just a little touch on it. It's all over the internet. If you don't know how to read ice, go to the internet. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of videos. Yeah. Ice floats. Ice is flexible, but when it's warm, it degrades. And in Minnesota, the UP, and the Dakotas, are always get ice. It's never not come here. But some areas didn't get ice very good last year, and it's just remember there's a whole list of things to bring, a throw cushion and spikes to get out, because you ain't gonna use your fingernails on ice. Just and remember, if you don't know how to read ice and you're unsure, don't go, or bring someone who does, and then go to the internet and learn about it. So ice safety is nothing to mess around with, but early ice is always the most work. It is the most work because I'm drilling all the way out there, and some days we'll drill 4 miles. And if we're on foot or we're taking a machine, who's ever lucky enough to be on the machine just follows behind, and I wave you up after I drill it and measure it. So we don't take safety for granted. And the same with the nice thing with Red Lake and Lake of the Woods and all these different destinations and Winnie and all that, they drill and they check it for you. And that's why they want your business. They want you to be safe.
So, bro, as far as we talked a little bit about the safety gear out there, how about fishing gear? On your first few trips out there, what are you bringing? How many rods? How much tackle? What kind of sonar? What's your early ice setup?
I'm going to have a razor auger. The new synthetic ultralight is awesome, and I have that on just a drill from my garage, a brushless. I have both. I have a Milwaukee and DeWalt, but so far I've been using the Milwaukee. Or actually, I'm going to the DeWalt because the handle goes on different and doesn't come off. And I know these drills weren't designed for ice in mind, but the DeWalt one wraps around the whole front and doesn't come off. And if I hand it to someone, they're going to break that handle off on the Milwaukee. And so I'm not sponsored by those companies. So I have one of each, and I'm taking the DeWalt lately because that handle on the hammer drill stays on. Mm-hmm. You pick up one of these synthetic flightings, and now you got a drill you can use in summer, winter, and then you got this. But I'm drilling holes as I go, but I like to have a spud bar. And if you chop in an area a couple times, but if you drill a hole, you can actually measure it with a tape measure, and that's key. You got to measure as you go. And then I have my Humminbird ice bundle facing towards me. I always have an Aquaview with me because I like to watch and see what's down there. And it's light; they fit in your pocket. That's really key. Yep. Some St. Croix CI rods, and then I'll have some. They got a lot of combos. I make sure to bring at least, one for the bro bug spoon, one for the glass buckshot, and kind of panfish and walleye both. Perch panfish always. Then of course, amply stocked tackle box full of Northland tackle and Gamakatsu. But I also invite Sam in case I run out of a color. Then I can go to the Sam box. His box always looks perfect. And until
at the beginning of the year,
then it gets some missing.
At the beginning of the year, It's perfect, but I get a lot of friends with sticky fingers by the end of the year. But
Yeah, how does that happen? But so it looks like it's perfect. Then it's got missing teeth when he goes home later because, but it's always good. But that's the thing, safety, and it all fits. And Otter has a seat now that goes in a bucket. It's awesome. I throw it in even early ice. You're sitting on a bucket all day. That thing's comfortable.
I remember you had that out there last year. That was pretty cool.
It's fantastic. And so if it's cold, pop up or a cottage. But if you're with somebody, pop up's great. You got maximum amount of space and really light, folds up to really small. So it's
that
pretty hard to
cottage
beat.
is pretty cool too. The sled cottage, because it's a 2-man house, but it's really not that big and not that heavy. So would be a great early ice walkout type of fish house.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so it kind of that's the emergency stuff there. And someone had a question about earlier 360 or forward viewing. Now that's really a tough question because 360 if you use side imaging, Humminbird is the best side imaging. If you use it in open water and you go to ice, with 360 you see everything that's around there, the whole area. So you look, you're like, okay, I'm on nothing, and the rock bar's over there. And you can look, you can see where that edge is and go right to it with 360. But forward viewing, you can watch the fish move like it's an ultrasound. It's really, really cool. So, when I was up on Rainy Lake, I avoided running into rocks on my trolling motor in the open water because I could see the rocks on 360 and stop. Someone would come up to a foot of water. But on the ice, 360 is pretty amazing. I don't know. That's a decision you're going to have to make. But, if you have a bunch of people fishing with you, Humminbird, ice bundle with Mega Live, that and downview. If you got kids, you could watch. Everybody can see all their lines. Put it in the middle, and you're set. So I would say that would be a really, really big deal. And with the updates, it's absolutely amazing, and you're going to love it. But 360 is a game changer too. So, but I would lean towards Mega Live because you're going to have the Lake Master mapping, and you could use it on your boat. So that's an easy thing, and they don't leave you out in the wind. They update it. So that's.
How about AquaViews? We had a question about what model AquaView do you recommend?
Well, I actually anything to get you started, because I get this question all the time. What can you afford? You got to have an AquaView. So make sure you get one that you can afford. They come in nice carrying cases, and so color, infrared is kind of important, and then being able to, wrap the cord up so you could see that the cord wraps on the back and it reels in.
Yeah.
So I like the reel because when you're out there on the ice, you can just reel up your AquaView and you can go. And some people like using the Aqua, just running around and looking down the holes at sunfish, perch, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part about picking your AquaView is what you're doing with it. You got the micro revolutions and stuff, and that's great for moving around a lot from spot to spot. But if you're like a hard house guy and want to put something down that the kids can watch or that you can watch for the weekends, then they have those higher end HD models that the video quality is pristine on. We use it to get a lot of action shots of our baits and whatnot. So all depends on what you're going to do. If you're going to move around and more using it to catch fish and find the fish, some of those lighter, more portable options are good. And then if you're using it to kind of hunker down and watch the fish and get entertainment out of it, the HDs are awesome.
Absolutely. Before we get too far into it, I get a lot of questions, and we got some now about what I used. And I already was successful in my deer hunt. I got a nice 8-point buck. It wasn't a super monster like last year. This one I could actually drag. It was still a lot, but I used I love these these heater gloves, and the reason being is I have them here. I couldn't believe how defined they are. They actually fold out, and you got fingers, and then the top finger opens up. So and you could just use these when you're pulling the trigger, but you could also insert a little heater in there. Just amazing gloves.
Yep.
Really, really warm Sherpa wool, and even a magnet when you tip it up so that it makes no noise. And that was cool. And that's what I was wearing when I got that big deer. And another thing I was wearing, and I can't believe it. I can't even begin to tell you how nice they are, is these socks. And I'm going to have them on the ice. I got to test them a little bit late winter last year. Made in America, merino wool. They actually make your feet feel better. They're ergonomic. And Fish Monkey socks are super amazing. And if you ever see these socks, I'm going to take them out of the package. And they should be at most of your good retailers around. But you check them out. These are, not above the. I don't want the above the ankle. I mean, I got the big old ankles, but these are great, and you don't sweat to death. And even their little boat socks, these little merino wool boat socks, fantastic stuff. So Fish Monkey, Hunt Monkey.
Mm-hmm.
If you have
their fleece face mask too is really, really nice. I've been using that all year. We had kind of a cold early start to the season, so that's nice. And then I like those Chilly Willy gloves, the little lighter fleece gloves, leather palms. I'm a big bow hunter, so having that fleece that's quiet and not bulky, so I can still get a good grip on my bow is super nice.
And these have been good. We had 18 degrees a couple of the days I was guiding here towards fall. And your fingertips get cold sometimes, but when you put the woolies on, you can still bait hooks, put a wax worm, put minnows on, and these woolies will keep you warm. When it's really cold, super cold, then I'll go to the Yetis. And those are the super big Magnum, like super duty gloves. And if you haven't seen them, you got to look them up. The Yeti gloves. I mean, they have goat skin lining. They have thinsulate. They are made to last. And just like the fish houses, you buy Fish Monkey or Hunt Monkey, you've got that thing for a long time. So really cool stuff. And so that you go to Fish Monkey, Hunt Monkey, and it'll come up. Just type that in when you go into your internet, and they'll have
seeing them in more and more stores now too. They're really getting some good distribution in a lot of the stores up in the Midwest, especially some of those independent dealers.
They're really thick, and they're merino wool. That's what I like about them, and they're made in America. So these are really cool, and they're stylish. I mean, like if I go to a business meeting, I'm probably not going to just go in my stocking feet, but I could. They look great. And so, Sam, you might want to wear them next time you're in a meeting at Northland.
Yeah, so, the new office attire.
Yeah. So, and look at this. See here? I got my AFCO hoodie, and these things are like super popular. Everywhere I go, I see people wearing these, and they're warm. You just put that up, and they have face masks and everything. So check them out if you haven't had a chance. And that's a Ninja hoodie.
Hey, before we get to the end of the show here, I just want to remind everyone to enter into our giveaway tonight. Got a bunch of cool prizes: Northland Tackle Pack, Bro Roadshow mug, some Visit Bemidji swag. So make sure to like, comment, and share the show, and that'll get you entered in to win. Brooke will be picking out a winner in a few minutes here. So,
well, and just remember, everybody, too, this Wednesday here coming up in the next couple of days, Wednesday, 6:30 to 8 o'clock, I'll be at Shields, St. Cloud, live doing a seminar. I'm not sending a bot or a drone. It's me, flesh and blood, standing right there doing a seminar for you. So stop out at Shields, and everybody who attends gets a free buckshot spoon. So remember, stop in, bring questions, but I'm going to talk about everything you can catch under the ice. Everything. I got surprise species. I'm not just going to say, here's a walleye, here's a bluegill. There's going to be some stuff there, some secret stuff, and definitely stop by if you're in the neighborhood, or if you live there and you don't come, I'm mad at you. That's just it. Stop in and say hi. And so Shields, St. Cloud, Wednesday, 6:30 to 8. I'll be there doing a seminar, and you can actually check in and make sure. So, and also, don't forget Dakota Angler, the Ice Institute, coming up in November. That's 11th, 12th. Yeah, it's that weekend. So Dakota Angler, stop in, and we're going to be at the Sioux Falls Convention Center. I got a seminar Saturday at 5, and I'll be there Friday and Saturday. Make sure to stop down. It's a fun event. If you live in the Dakotas or you live in southern Minnesota, you definitely want to stop over there. I'll be there. We could talk shop. We could talk tips and tricks, and maybe I'll give you some super secrets in your areas. But definitely do stop in, and then Sam and I will be at the St. Paul Ice Show. And last year we had a podcast, and this year we'll probably have another podcast from the show live at different intervals, and interview and tell you what's happening. If you can't make it there on Friday, Saturday or whatever, you could definitely check in with the podcast. So, but that's those are some of the things. And Sam, you got any more stuff here? We just kind of went really fast through, but there's a lot of tips that I want to tell people. Always make sure if you're able to use multiple lines, check out iFish Pro and have some lines out, and then look at some of these companies that we're talking about. And also, just because it's ice, don't be afraid to stop in at Ray's Sports Centers and look at boats for next year, because you don't want to be caught in the wind and not be able to get a boat you want. Now's the time to order so they can make it, or see what they have to get your boat up and running. So stop in at Ray's, whether you want to stop in and just get your boat winterized. You better get on the list because they are busy, but definitely a place you want to go to because they are a super good Lund destination, and I use them because they have the best personalities, best customer service. So definitely stop in there. Even though it's ice time, on your way to the bait shop, stop there and say hi. Eric will be there and the guys, and say hi and see what's going on. Outside of that, we have no ice yet. There's lakes that were froze over with skim ice and
It's
shallow
teasing
first.
It's teasing us, man. I mean, we got that cold snap. Some of the ponds froze over, and now it's just like hanging around 32 degrees every day. And those ponds aren't melting, but there's no ice forming. But I think when it happens, it's going to happen quick. So,
well, and deep waters vent, so it takes a long time for them to cool off. And I've been fishing. I've been on Leech. I've been on Winnie. I've been on Cass. And the deeper areas, I'm surprised they're holding their temperatures. I mean, some lakes are in the 40s still, and they really got to drop quite a bit to get down there. And even with this cold weather, we haven't quite got down there yet. But shallow lakes always freeze first. And what's available in shallow lakes? I got lakes that I go fish that'll have 4 inches of ice when everything else is still open, where you catch pike, perch, bass. Can't quite get, other stuff. Love catching giant largemouth through the ice, and that's when they bite first ice. And they're open still, so you could go play with them and let them go. But anything that bends the pole is a lot of fun. And so as ice starts happening, we're going to talk about it. We'll definitely have some guests on later. But we appreciate everybody stopping in tonight to the Bro Roadshow. Sam, do we have a winner?
we have a winner. So tonight's winner of the Northland giveaway, the Bro Roadshow gear, the Visit Bemidji stuff, is going to be James Brode. So congratulations, James.
All right, James.
And getting your contact information to get that stuff shipped out. But yeah, awesome show. I'm glad to be back. Thinking about ice here coming up soon. And
and before we go, I definitely want to thank Chesterburg Toyota for being a proud sponsor of this show. Stop in, say hi to the gang down there. They always have coffee there. They got a great place to get your car repaired. And if you're in the market for a newer used truck, stop by Chesterburg Toyota. And then Bemidji Sports Center. If you want to get a wicked, super wide track, long track sled, whether it's a Polaris or it's a Skidoo, make sure to stop in. They know how to make a wicked ice sled. Definitely stop in and talk to Shane, and they'll take care of you. And then Visit Bemidji. Plan your vacation now. If you're coming up this winter, talk to Brady and the gang there at Visit Bemidji. They will tell you where to stay and get you all set up, and just really cool places to go. And if you like big panfish, you like big perch, walleyes, they know where. And so we got some really cool people back and behind us besides everybody else. Remember, Amped Outdoors batteries. If you're running low on batteries, go to Amped. They're the best. They take care of you, and their websites have every detail on batteries. you're not sure what it takes to run your equipment, they'll know. So make sure, check out Amped Outdoors. It's a company that's there. They're not just, putting up an ad, not there. They're there. They take care of you in that every single show. So Amped Outdoors is a really, really cool place. So, but that's what we have. We'll see you next week on Wednesday. So be ready. 7 o'clock, the Bro Roadshow, and my talented buddy here, Sam, who's winning everything. And we'll have some more tips and tricks of what's going on. We'll see you next week.
Unless there's at least 4 inches of ice, and that's with the safety.
You gotta love it. The eyeball. Oh, wow. That's the biggest one yet. Big jumbo perch.